नमस्ते। सो नाउ लेट्स प्रिपेयर एन आंसर फॉर आर्टिकल 368 के ऊपर कोई सवाल आए यही लिखना है। केशवानंद भारती के ऊपर कोई सवाल आए यू हैव टू राइट दिस। In fact, anything that traces out the history of Golaknath, Sajjan Singh, Shankari Prasad to Keshwanand Bharati, you have to mention these pointers, whatever I'm going to just give you. Anything that is talking about Article 13, 368, discuss, decide, or criticize, we will get all the pointers in this lecture. We have already discussed about the interpretation of the constitution, right? That's where we started from. So it's amendability of the constitution. So times are not static, times change, and therefore the life, write this down, the life of a nation is not static but dynamic, living, and organic. Its political, social, and economic conditions keep changing. So we are trying to tell the examiner that we know why do we need to amend the constitution, all right? So constitution from one era may just be inadequate in another era, all right? So therefore we amend to adopt the constitution to the changing times. That is why we have article 368 and part 20 of the constitution to begin with, all right? Tell the examiner, see, any Tom, Dick and Harry can write article 368 में there are three kinds of amendments. In the law optional, we are looking at your mind working like this. That amendment है तो सही, लेकिन क्यों है? Why is the law the way it is? Explain to the examiner. Number अपने आप ऊपर. One question can be reframed in so many ways, as we'll discuss in the past year question papers. We have to mention these pointers at the most appropriate times as you feel fit in your answer. Now, how do you amend the constitution? Mind you, we have discussed about the interpretation pehle. So we have discussed harmonious construction, eclipse. We have discussed everything, basically judicial review, primarily speaking, in the previous lecture. We're looking at how do we amend. So there is the informal method, that is judicial interpretation, जो कि हमने पहले बात करी थी. Constitutional text does not change, but interpretation changes. The classic example of doctrine of eclipse, as we discussed in the previous lecture, the word void in Article 13 and how its definition was changed after हमारा जो बीकाजी वाला जो case law. Now the process is slow rather, not develops from case to case over a period of time. This informal method, it's quite slow. So it develops from case to case. Courts do not take the initiative. भाई अब कोर्ट ऐसे थोड़े ना बताएगा चलो जी आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट टेक्स ऐसे कि आज मूड कर रहा है ओपन द बेयर एक्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड लेट अस चेंज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस वर्ड. सो वी वोंट बी चेंजिंग द वर्ड, वी विल बी चेंजिंग द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड. ऐसा तो नहीं होने वाला. Courts do not take the initiative. It is only when the question is posed to them do they tell you what do we need to do about the words that are there or the interpretation that are there. So US में there is no explicit reasonable restriction, but the US Supreme Court said that well we can impose reasonable restrictions. India में तो we made it explicit after the First Amendment. Now for example Article 21 free legal aid, we shifted from DPSP under 21 आपका हुसैन खातून and Khatri versus State of Bihar. Doctrine of eclipse, हमारा बीकाजी वाला case we have already explained quite a lot on these aspects, all right? So and now conventional constitutional usages, that is how does, for example, now in the Bear Act, if you open Bear Act, open Article 72 where the pardoning powers of the president given, it's always a dispute whether it's an executive power or a judicial power. I say it's a judicial function given by an executive power, but that's a debate of another story, or another day rather. Conventions and constitutional uses. Now there are a lot of conventions from the UK that are not hard coded in our constitution. So they are just conventions. We just know about them. Like for example, the power of pardon, it has to be exercised on the advice of the Home Minister. Whereas the word cabinet defined in the constitution, it's nowhere defined, but a cabinet does exist. It's an extra constitutional body. Pardon on the advice of the Home Minister, it's not written anywhere in Article 72, right? So that is the way that we use conventions to interpret the constitution. Now Niti Aayog is basically आपका कहाँ पे दिया हुआ है? Where is it given in the constitution? Nowhere, right? Now we look at formal methods. So these are informal methods of interpretation and amendment of the constitution. We're looking at formal methods now. Formal methods में there are two kinds of constitution primarily. There are flexible constitutions, there are rigid constitutions. Now flexible constitutions you can amend by constitutional amendments. You by an ordinary act, by legislative process. Lok Sabha में bill pass किया, Rajya Sabha में bill pass किया, President से send बिल आया, that's flexible. Rigid में there's a constituent process in which amendment requires a special procedure. US में you cannot change the constitution very easily because it's an extremely rigid constitution to a very high degree. Ours is a mixed. All right. Always do remember in part 20, Article 368 is given. And now let us discuss out Article 368. Now, three kinds of amendments that are there. So one's the less significance. For example, you have to basically enact a law under Article 2 and 3. So as per Article 4, just simple majority से काम चल लीजिएगा. So there's a less significance, ज़्यादा कोई special majority वगैरह की ज़रूरत नहीं है. So we have basically our constitution makers. They envisaged each and every possibility. Then there is the procedure. So that's Article 368 में you need to pass a special majority. And if you are touching any features that will basically be affecting the center-state relations, or any features that will be affecting primarily the state legislatures, you will have to get a ratification done by 1/2 of the state legislature. It's a good time to pause the lecture here and open Article 368 and review it once to commit it to memory. So the first में example है about Article 2 and 3, वो मैंने आपको बता ही दिया है. You really don't need a special majority for that. Article 169, if you have to abolish a legislative council, for example, go ahead, do it. But if आपको ये काम करना है यहाँ पर, तो under basically आपका नहीं तो दूसरे तरीके का क्या है कि 368 में you require a special majority. If you didn't pause the lecture, well, here is 368. All right, it's primarily been amended twice. All right, but actually third time also it's been amended by the 101st Amendment Act. मैंने primarily बोला है, primarily is basically significant changes. 101st Amendment Act तो है छोटी सी एक, यहाँ पे 279A लिख गया, but primarily it's been amended twice. All right, now by the 24th Amendment Act, first and foremost, we changed the title. So tell the examiner that you know that we changed the title. Let me zoom it in so that it gets better for you. So by the 24th Amendment, we substituted power of Parliament to amend the constitutional procedure thereof for the words procedure for amendment of the Constitution. All right. Now I'm not going to obviously be reading out the article again and again. We have also discussed this time and again. So just read it. And primarily speaking, we have gone after the amendment procedure by some constitutional amendments. So we are looking at the 24th Amendment. Nothing in Article 13 shall apply to any amendment made under this article. वो कह रहा है जी 13 के अंदर that if you pass a law or if there is a law that violates your fundamental rights, वो कह रहा है जी ऐसा है. Anything that I do under 368, Article 13 cannot stop me. This was declared by the 24th Amendment. And by the 42nd Amendment, it says, no amendment of this Constitution made or purporting to have been made under this article, that is under 368, whether before or after the commencement of Section 55, पूरा पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, shall be called in question in any court or any ground. यही जो चक्कर 3-4 वाला जो चक्कर है, 4 and 5 primarily, इसी के ऊपर सारा आंसर टिका है. यही हमने एग्जामिनर को एक्सप्लेन करना है कि हमें ये पूरी लंबी चौड़ी कहानी, we know it. Okay, so as soon as you touch the entrenched provisions, that is, you change anything by an amendment relating to the President, the Supreme Court and High Court, Part 11, or you change or you touch Article 368 itself, you have to get आपका state legislature का काम. Now, the original marginal note, the heading, as I've already explained to you, it was procedure for amendment of the Constitution. Since 1951, questions have been raised about the Constitution's amendability. कि भाई अब क्या करें? As soon as the Constitution came into, you can say as soon as it's commenced, the question started arising. अरे इसमें क्या करें? अरे उसका क्या करें? Right? So whether fundamental rights are amendable, that was the first question, first primary question posed to the Supreme Court, and our constitutional history is decoded on this very question: is whether fundamental rights are amendable. Can the Parliament amend fundamental rights? This will straight away cover a 15-20 marker in one go. यही इसी lecture में सभी कुछ है. Now, Parliament can take away any fundamental rights via constitutional amendments. वो कह रहे जी fundamental rights को रोको, and यहाँ पे हम कहानी हमारी शुरू हुई from आपके शंकरी प्रसाद सिंह versus यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया के अंदर, ठीक है जी। अच्छा, अब आपका जी आर्टिकल 31 में क्या है, राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी से कहानी शुरू हो रही है। दिस इज आरटीपी, आई तो राइट टू प्राइवेसी नहीं है, इट्स राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी। आर्टिकल 31 से कहानी शुरू हो रही है, द जमींदारी राइट्स बेसिकली. So the first amendment placed a lot of things, basically in the ninth schedule introduced Article 31A, 31B. So in this case law, we are challenging the bypassing of judicial review by the parliament by placing a lot of acts, thanks to which it took away a lot of your आपका, it violated or infringed the right to privacy or right to property rather, sorry, RTP देख के right to privacy याद आता, तो right to property provided to the people under Article 31, which is given under Part 3, which was rather given under Part 3. So they said, so what the Parliament did was it placed the laws in the 9th schedule and said that whatever is placed in the 9th schedule, the Supreme Court cannot look into those acts. Great, मुबारक हो जी, मुबारक हो गई सबको, राइट। अच्छा, यू कैन नॉट लुक इनटू दोज एक्ट्स। तो फिर राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी हमें दे क्यों रखा आर्टिकल 31 में, उस जमाने में 1950s में ये बात हो रही थी। So the first amendment did this, so it's a challenge. The case law was challenged to bypass the judicial review. So the primary question came in. Is the word law, does the word law here in Article 13, law is inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights? Does this word law contain the word constitutional amendment as used in Article 368? कहानी यहाँ से शुरू हुई थी, ठीक है जी। Now, so this is आपकी कहानी law. Does law include a constitutional amendment? Now, if it is law as per 368 and as per Article 13 as given in 368, then how can it take away my fundamental right? Because Article 13 says law inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights. The state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges the right conferred by this part. So if this law is equal to a constitutional amendment as given in Article 368, you cannot pass the amendment that you're doing because it's violating rights given to you under Part 3. All right. The contention in this case was that a law cannot take away fundamental rights. So the final decision was कि जी Article 13, वो contention थी petitioner की, but the final decision by the court is Article 13 वाला जो law है, the word law, it does not contain constitutional amendment as given in Article 368. So they can amend and take away your fundamental rights. यही मतलब हो गया ना. So the validity of the 9th schedule was upheld, but the debate started between legislative power and constituent power. Because see, the Supreme Court is not bound by its own decisions, as we have already seen in Bengal Immunity Company versus State of Bihar. In the last lecture, we already discussed this. So Supreme Court के सिर में खारिश होनी शुरू हो गई। अच्छा, ये मैंने कर तो दिया है, लेकिन सामने वाले की बात थोड़ा थोड़ा दम भी है भाई। Right, as benches keep on changing, अब everyone's observing what is happening in the Supreme Court. They're like, नहीं, ये शायद थोड़े से गलत track पे. It will get revealed. All right, but we are here only, so we'll just we go to Sajjan Singh versus Rajasthan. So via 368, Parliament can amend, abridge, nullify a fundamental right. So people were like, why फिर fundamental right दिए क्यों हैं? If you can amend them, you can take them away at any time. Why are you calling them fundamental to begin with? So this, this debate started popping up. Now we go to Sajjan Singh versus Rajasthan. That's 1964, 13 saal baad. All right. 17th Amendment was challenged, wherein via the 17th Amendment, a number of statutes were again placed in the 9th schedule, bypassing judicial review. So the contention was that this moving in, it affected Article 226. कि जी ये क्या कर रहे हो आप? If you are placing such statutes under 9th schedule, aren't you affecting the power of the High Court to look into the validity of the laws? Great point. Now, the decision came with a split of 3:2. दो जज अब बुरा मानना शुरू हो गए कि नहीं ये हम क्या कर रहे हैं भाई. देखिए, डाउट आने शुरू हो गए. शंकरी प्रसाद में तो सब क्लियर था. सज्जन सिंह में शायद हम गलत कर रहे हैं. Right. 3:2 में they used doctrine of pith and substance in this case, and they said that it's not taking away 226 displacement of laws in 9th schedule. It is only amending the fundamental rights so as to help with agrarian reform, and it's helping the state legislatures with agrarian reform. That is the need of the hour, and without this we can't proceed ahead with the development of the economy. Now majority said, same, the majority decision was same as Shankari Prasad. They said ordinary law is different from constitutional law, कि जो आपका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट वाली जो है वो पोर्शन वो अलग है फ्रॉम व्हाट इज गिवन एज द वर्ड लॉ इन आर्टिकल 13, राइट. बट ये दो जजेस ने जो काम किया था, इन्होंने ही समझ लीजिए पूरी गंगा खोल दी, यहाँ से बहा दी कि जाओ बेटा तुम जाओ, बाकी तो लोग नहा लेंगे उसके. हिदायतुल्ला जी एंड जस्टिस मुधोलकर, हिदायतुल्ला जी सेड कि भाई साहब मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि पार्ट 3 में स्टेट इज अश्योरिंग यू दैट यू विल हैव दीज फंडामेंटल राइट्स, करेक्ट. The constituent makers are assuring you everyone's doing the same thing, and हम कह रहे हैं by our decisions in Shankari Prasad and Sajjan Singh, we are saying the state को nullify करा लो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. वो कह रही है यार फिर then how are we assuring fundamental rights to the people? फंडामेंटल शब्द है ही क्यों, right? And in Justice Mudholkar said, well, every constitution has some fundamental features that cannot be changed, buddy. Otherwise, the parliament can amend everything. They can rewrite the entire constitution itself. तो हमारे वो डॉक्टर B.R. अम्बेडकर, जवाहरलाल नेहरू और जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली के आपके राजेंद्र प्रसाद, सच्चिदानंद सिन्हा, एक्सेट्रा, महात्मा गांधी वॉज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली. वो जो बैठे थे, जो 46 से ऑलमोस्ट समझ लीजिए 49-50 तक बैठे थे, वो क्या कर रहे थे? झक मार रहे थे. तो फिर तो पार्लियामेंट अपने आप कुछ भी लिख देती. Why did we involve the Muslim League? Why did we involve the princely states? Why did we form a constituent assembly? I mean, what was happening there? Based on this, the case law of Golaknath came in. Based on this, the dissents that is there, the minority judgment, the Keshwanand Bharti case law popped up. That's why usually, if it is required, mind you, these days dissenting is quite cool, by the way, even though it's not required. Quite a lot of judges do it because they are playing to public gallery. But any which way, so if it is required and if it makes sense, dissents and minority judgments are extremely crucial. So it's somebody else has won the case, but you're opening up more and more opportunities for reforms or in the thought process of law. Now we go to Golaknath versus State of Punjab. That's 1967. Again, the 17th Amendment was challenged, and this time 11 judge judgment came. 6:5 हो गया. अब पहले हम 2 को पकड़ रहे थे, अब हम 5 को आ गए. याद है बात. All right. They said, the majority of the judges said fundamental rights are transcendental in nature. This way, if you are basically, our position reverse हो गई है, by the way. 6 अब जीत गए, वो जो 2 थे वो 6 में बन गए हैं और 5 पीछे रह गए हैं. That's how you evolve things, but it's quite a slow process. It's already 67, 1950 से लगे हुए हैं, right? Justice is quite slow. So they said fundamental rights are transcendental in nature. This way, if you are allowing Parliament to do whatever the hell that it wants to with respect to fundamental rights, because that's what we have said in Shankari Prasad and Sajjan Singh, Parliament will over a period of time erode all fundamental rights. It's quite a dangerous position. Then why do we have a part 3? फिर तो हम इनको पार्ट 4 DPSP की तरह ही ट्रीट कर लेते. Fundamental rights, they said, cannot be amended by any constitutional amendment, and the ratio was given that marginal heading of 368 prior to the 24th Amendment, it read as procedure for amendment of this constitution, where we began a lecture from. All right. So power of parliament, टाइटल क्या था, मार्जिनल नोट क्या था आर्टिकल का, प्रोसीजर फॉर अमेंडमेंट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. वेयर इज इट रिटन पावर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट? तो ये तो कहीं है ही नहीं. 24th अमेंडमेंट इंदिरा गांधी ने कहा, बताती हूँ तुम्हें, रुको मैं पूरा नोट ही बदल दूंगी, उसके इससे आर्टिकल की हेडिंग ही बदल दूंगी. खैर एनीवे, and this power of parliament is actually a residuary power as provided for under Article 248. Good time to pause the lecture and refer to Article 248. Hopefully you have your bare acts open. With these comprehensive lectures, you really need your bare acts along with you. Now, therefore, the law under Article 13 contains in itself the law under Article 368. Great. And a constitutional amendment cannot affect Part 13, Article 13 Part 3 rather, because Article 13 wala law is equal to law passed under Article 368, and Article 13 is saying that you cannot make any law that violates any provisions of this part. Great. So therefore, you cannot amend fundamental rights. अब उस टाइम की सरकार बहुत गुस्सा हो गई इस जजमेंट से. अब वाली जो सारी जो लड़ाई चलेगी, दैट विल लीड अस टू केशवानंद भारती. ठीक है जी. सो शंकरी प्रसाद, सज्जन सिंह, देवर ओवर रूल्ड के, चलो चलो तुम साइड हो, राइट. बट that is why we already discussed on the previous lecture in the course, doctrine of prospective overruling, because it would lead to a lot of chaos if you are just annulling all the amendments up till that date. पीछे की सारी जजमेंट, स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर कितनी एक्ट हुई होंगी, कितनी डेवलपमेंट हमने करी होगी बेस्ड ऑन द लॉज दैट यू योरसेल्फ पास्ड इन दीज टू जजमेंट्स, all hell will break loose. So therefore doctrine of prospective overruling की आज से हम prospective आगे की तरफ जजमेंट को अप्लाई करेंगे. ठीक है. Now doctrine of prospective overruling, say we have to save the agrarian revolution, because if the 17th amendment were void now, it would lead to chaos. And an academic question also arose, that can the parliament really academically, if the parliament is allowed to amend any part of the constitution, well, can it amend the entire constitution itself? So concerns came in, right?